We commence the special session 3 on the topic Exploring Unconventional Business Models, E-Channels for the New Age Consumer. I now invite the chairman of this session, Mr. Venki Rajagopal, Chairman and Managing Director, Indian Terrain Fashions Limited, to take his place on the dais. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I also invite the distinguished speaker, Mr. B.S. Nagesh, Chairman, Shoppers Stop Limited, to take his place on the dais. Can we welcome the dignitaries with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Mr. Venki Rajagopal, born in a family of civil servants, is a first-generation entrepreneur. He started his entrepreneurial journey in 1989 with Celebrity Fashions, and in the year 2000 started Indian Terrain. He took both the companies public. The two companies between them have a turnover of over 1,000 crores. And Mr. Venki Rajagopal has been associated with MMA since 2009 and has held the office of President of MMA in the year 2012-13. He's a member of YPO, WPO, Chennai chapter since 2005. We also have with us Mr. B.S. Nagesh, who is a distinguished speaker, who is a founder of Public Charitable Trust Terrain, Trust for Retailers and Retail Associates of India. He is currently the chairman and non-executive director of Shoppers Stop Limited and also the founder chairman of Retailers Association of India. Recently, he was awarded with the prestigious NCPEDP, National Center for Promotion of Employment for Disabled People, Helen Keller Award for creating livelihood opportunities for persons with disabilities and was recognized as the change maker at the Sabira Awards. He's also been honored as an Ashoka Fellow in 2019. I now hand over the session to the chairman, Mr. Venki Rajagopal.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of you. I know it's the post-lunch session and we need to wake you up. And I guarantee you that in Mr. Nagesh and in what he will have to share with you, it's going to be a most exciting and an extremely well-informed talk on the subject of business solutions for this new age, for the new consumer, as we see who has emerged in our country, and the future of shopping.
Oh, I think the halwa has made an effect. How was the halwa? You know, I saw some besan ka halwa, no? It was very nice. Yeah. Moong dal halwa. So somebody has eaten that. I just want to check up how seriously have you had your food. Some more people are eating their food there. Once again, good afternoon. Yeah, that's really, really good. Thank you very much, MMA, for inviting me. It's such a pleasure. This is a very, very different topic that I'm trying to address of the new channels and what it could do to the country and what it could do to the business of retail. Those of you who are carrying one smartphone, will you take it in your right hand and raise it for me, please? And those of you who got a second smartphone, use the left hand and raise it. This is an important exercise, because after lunch, if I don't make you do all this, when I came in, the session was going, some of the chairs were empty, so I sat there, and I saw a lot of you engaged in the mobile. Then I was told, no, they are actually looking at the webinar from the global perspective. But thank you once again. So what I wanted to tell you was that if you look at yourself, 100% of the people in this hall had a mobile, a smartphone with them. And I think another 10% had the second smartphone with them. So if this is what's happening to you, do you agree that your next generation, your children are smarter than you on the smartphone? How many of you agree? Your children are not there. If you agree also, don't agree, no problems. Yeah? Look at it. 100% of you agree that your children are smarter than you as far as the smartphone is concerned. Now, to me, that is the basic genesis of the next 30 minutes that I want to talk to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, in business, especially the small retailers, and I have distinguished presence on the front row of people who are running very large FMCG. If the children are your consumer, your customer is shopping 24 by 7. And we in the brick and mortar business are sleeping 12 by 7. We have lost 50% business to start with. I think that's the first understanding that we have to accept. If we don't accept that, it's fine. I mean, okay, you can be happy about it. The second fact you have to accept is that all of us who are running traditional stores, especially the family stores, the small enterprises, all of us have educated our children more than what we are educated ourselves. This is the second thing that's happened, and it's happened rampantly. Don't you think it's very unfair for the earlier generation to ask the generation which is next, who's more educated, to run the business in the traditional way that my dad gave it 50 years back? I think it's very unfair. So, one phenomenon is your next generation educated much more. Second is mobile, the power has come in. And the third is, in all cases, whether it is a small kirana, a department store, a lifestyle store, in almost all the cases, the customer is become more intelligent than the seller. Because the power that she has in her hand, she actually has more information when she comes to shop with you than you yourself have or your associate has in the store. It's amazing. Because in 90% of the modern stores, mobiles are not allowed to be carried inside the store. So you have no information on what's happening. Whereas the customer comes, she takes out the mobile, she says, this is what the price, this is what the comparison, and you have no power to compare. So technology has come in. The second generation has become more educated. And of course, the consumer has tremendous power. In a situation like this, is there any option for us not to be in e-commerce and omni-channel? Yes and no. Let me first address the no part of it. When I meet, and we do a lot of work in our trust with small kiranas, I'll share with you as to what we are doing and what we are finding. But if you look at the no part of it, even today, 50% of the business comes from food, which is the groceries and personal cares and things like that. And the e-commerce contribution or share of this business is 2%. The modern retail share of this business is 5%. But unfortunately, I know there are people from the media. In the media, the front page news with the government and non-government and policies, you get 90% front page media for the e-commerce. So what's happened is we have created e-commerce as a hawa for today. It's going to be a very important business option that we all have to be in. But today, if you look at it, it's just 6-7%. And with the growth, the 90% still has an opportunity to growth. But most of us are engaged in worrying about what the 7% is doing to us. And therefore, a lot of us are ignoring the current businesses we are in. I mean, you go to any store today as a customer, I can bet you 8 out of 10 stores, you won't get a welcome because all the salespeople, including the owner, is actually watching a mobile. So how the hell will you actually serve your customer? So look at the 100%. There is 7%, which is growing faster, maybe at 30-35%. The 90% is growing slower, maybe at 2% or 3%. But 2-3% of a $650 billion, if you take 50% of that as food, is still a very, very large number. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say there is no option than not being part of the omni-channel journey. That's the number one. Number two is that how do I do it? Because again, when I meet smaller retailers, smaller business enterprises, they say, no, I don't know technology, I don't know money, I don't know who will give me money. Well, there are options. First of all, you start listening to your children, adopt them, talk to them, that's fun. But more important is, you don't have to invest. We are in such a wonderful period in our country's history when there are hundreds and thousands of entrepreneurs or startups have come in and who are actually investing to make your business omni-channel. That's number one. Number two is, in the last 10 years, both Flipkart, Amazon, as well as Metro and Walmart, two cash and carry companies and two large e-commerce businesses have understood there is no way you can enter the Indian household without actually collaborating with your kiranas because they are there at the last mile. What they can do, you cannot do. You can do it, but at a cost that you'll never make money. An average delivery costs you between 60 to 80 bucks. I mean, you can't make money on a 250 rupees transaction if you're paying 80 rupees on delivery. But a kirana guy keeps coming to you. The milk guy comes into your house every day morning. The newspaper wala already comes to your house. So if a newspaper wala or a milk wala has to deliver something to you, it's going to cost hardly incrementally 2 rupees or 5 rupees. So this country's environment is today all ready to become omni-channel by itself in the way the structure is made. So what is the option available to you is, can you actually explore and see, are there companies which are connecting kiranas in order to make you modern? And I am not saying this just because I'm talking to you, but currently my trust works with kiranas, and we have actually worked with 200 kiranas. We have data to tell you that a kirana which gets modernized, its business doubles in 3 years, profit doubles, the children come back into their business, and the best is the social status in the business goes up because now the society sees them as a modern retailer. Without changing the size of the shop, we have evidence of a 250 square feet, we have evidence of a 500 square feet, 1,000 square feet, and 2,000 square feet. And modernization doesn't mean you rip up everything and redo the store. Just putting a nice inventory module and a POS system is modernization because you start getting to know what's happening to your inventory. So if you can get this, you can modernize yourself. So let's look at a few examples that's happening, and these are large companies. First of all, if you are getting from an FMCG distributor, and if you're a very small retailer, maybe you get delivery twice a week or thrice a week. You have an option to go to a Metro and Walmart cash and carry, and maybe pick up some assortment which otherwise you can't get it on a delivery, or you don't want to even pick up a full box. You want to take a smaller item, which is possible to do, okay? So Metro or Walmart or cash and carry is not a competitor. It's a facilitator, and it gives you a smart way of making your assortment, okay? And they are not forcing you to take it all. It's up to you to decide that. If you look at a company like ShopX, or if you look at a company like Pay Nearby, I'm just taking two examples. There is Udaan, and there's hundreds of companies which have come. They're all very well funded. They're all losing money to make you make money. That's another beauty of this business that's happening. I mean, we should be really thankful to the benevolent American pension funds, which actually pump money into them, and they come and burn the money for us to earn money. Okay, that's the big opportunity we are sitting on. So if you take a ShopX, now in your store of, let's say, 1,000 square feet, you have about 1,500 or 1,800 SKUs, yeah? But your consumer is consuming 5,000 SKUs. You cannot stuff that into your store. You tie up with one of these guys, and suddenly the power of your POS is now giving you assortment of much more than what you can actually have. And especially in tier 3, tier 4 cities, this is fantastic because the kirana owner or a small shopkeeper, he could be a offset guy, he could be a Xerox machine guy. They are very trusted. A lot of people in the family, they come and talk to them. They know their family, they know the generation. So if you want to buy a mobile, you go to them and say, Ramji, mobile kharidna hai. You always will suggest, you say, yeah, take it from here. Now, because now his POS is powered to sell mobile. And suddenly 1,000 square feet, which was giving him a take home of 25 to 30,000, starts giving him 35 to 40,000 rupees, 10,000 increase. What has he done? Nothing. He's only opened up his mind, ran away from this whole protectionism that we are all talking of. You know, all associations say protect us, no FDI, no this. Tax them, don't tax us. Those days are gone. It will not happen. I mean, if we have to grow, we have to accept the change. So you tie up with one of these guys and suddenly you are omni-channel. Zero spend. In Shoppers, 25 years back, we spent $10 million to put the first ERP, and this year we are spending another $10 million to change the ERP. I wish we were in a situation where we'll say, hey guy, Amazon, come tie up with us, give me the technology, we'll actually save the $10 million. That's the opportunity which is sitting on the desk. Then you will say, okay, but I'm not a kirana owner, I'm a small shopkeeper, what can I do? I'm giving you an example of another company. Again, a startup, 3-year-old company, extremely aggressive. The company is called Pay Nearby. I'm not proposing these companies, I'm not promoting them, but I'm just giving you an example. They have actually powered the smaller retailers for fund transfer. As of today, they have 600,000 retailers. It's a 3-year-old company. 600,000 small retailers of various kinds. And these small retailers are currently earning between 10,000 to 15,000 rupees extra per month. The only investment they have done is they have 2 or 3 mobile phones, smartphones. Maybe they must have spent 30,000, 40,000 rupees on the smartest of smartphones. And their ROI is about 100% on a monthly basis. Now, that's the opportunity of collaboration that we are seeing in the country. And this is where I think the whole omni-channel will work. Now, that's on the front end. On the back end, if you look at, for example, I met somebody from Nasik, very interesting story. I want to slightly divert because it just came up. This gentleman from Nasik and I was standing in a conference like this, and there were 3, Gyani retailers talking about shrinkage. Shrinkage, ours is 1.5%. This is the best shrinkage in the country. And he asked me, sir, what is this shrinkage? I said, chori ho jata hai na, when you lose money, people come and steal away. But 50% of the stealing away is done by employees. So he's a kirana guy in Nasik. Huh? He's telling me, sir, chori kaise hota hai? Employee kyun chori karenge? Why will the employees ever? I said, you don't have theft? He said, I don't have. I said, what do you do? He said, every year for 15 days, I send all my employees for Vipassana course fully paid up. He said, sir, if 15 days in a year they are doing Vipassana, where is the question of stealing? After that, I have asked so many HR heads of large companies, will you be willing to send somebody like this to go and do? Nobody does it. Look at the thought process. Then we talked about margin. He's saying my margin is 16% to 18%. I said, it's not possible. How can a Kirana have 16 to 18%? You said you got 1,000 square feet Kirana. You know what he said? He said, sir, there are 8 shopkeepers next to each other on the same street. We have identified one SKU each, which we buy for all the 8 shops. Amazing. He says, I am the onion king. He is the tur dal king. He says, it is the same thing. It just comes from different places or same place into my stores. So he says, each one of us buys tur dal for 8 shops. We get higher margin. And I am the expert. When I go, I get more respect from the supplier because I come with a bigger package. Now look at this is collaboration at the highest level on the street. And none of them are MBA from Stanford or Wharton or Harvard. This is simple common sense. That if we collaborate, we'll succeed. And none of them are unique SKUs. I mean, they are all the same tur dal he buys from all over the place. So look at this opportunity in your own business. And let's not forget, the biggest dads in the world are all collaborating. Only we don't want to accept. How many large corporations in this world will survive if Amazon Web Services or Google drops down? None. They are actually collaborating, but they don't talk about it as a collaboration. They pay to each other. Here also they share margins. So the second big opportunity which has come is collaboration. The only thing that you require to collaborate is open your minds. Because we always think that how can I collaborate with my competitor? But guys, it is not a competition on the supply side. The competition is on the demand side. The competition is on the basis of the service that you do. And to me, that is the competition that you have to be more worried about. So the way you sell to the customer, where you serve the customer, is probably a great way of differentiating your shop. But the way you buy need not be, especially when there are commodities or whether items which actually you can buy from whichever way. Yeah. So that's the second thing. So convergence, collaboration. I mean, these are the 2 things which are very, very important. Of course, modernization, because there is no option and now it's so easy and so cheap to do it. So with this, what are the trends that are emerging? All these organizations are finding it very difficult to reach the C, the customer. They're all now putting a lot of investment to reach to B2B, which is the businesses in between. And therefore, although in larger corporations, B2B is emerging, but I'm seeing in India in the next 5 to 10 years, a huge platform getting created of collaboration. India probably, in my opinion, will be one of the largest platforms of omni powered by technology and brick mortar to serve the customers. So B2B to C is probably going to be the biggest trend because the only country which Suresh is sitting here, everybody says there are 15 million retailers. But I met the commerce minister and he was telling me none of us have any count of how many retailers we have. It could be 20 million, it could be 30 million. But even if you say it is 15 million retailers on a 1.3 billion population, which other part of the world has one retail shop for 100 customers? Nowhere else. You can't serve the customer better than what we can serve. We are losing it for whatever reasons, but that's the opportunity we have. So a B2B to C platform is emerging, and this platform is going to be a combination of brick and mortar and online. So now the question is, if you are in a business which is brick and mortar, seek for collaboration with online. But if you are a technology company, look at serving smaller segment of customers together. So for example, I'll give you 3 examples when we saw these transformations happening as to how the generation has picked up. So we went and met a retailer, and he's got 2 shops, and both kiranas. After some time again I met him, he says, sir, मेरा एक दुकान मैंने modernize कर दिया है, मेरा बेटा चलाता है. My son is running the second shop. What is that shop? He says, it's an optical shop he has started, optician. So I said, but your kirana, your son has started optician. He said he wanted to run a modern shop. I said, but what is so modern about it? He gave me a definition of 3 things. And look at the ingenuity of how they think. He said, my son said, I want a shop which is air conditioned. He said, I want a shop where technology is used. And I want a shop where English-speaking sales boys and girls should be there. And therefore, he found that if you run an optical shop, you require a computer testing, eye testing machine. You need to read and speak English. And the shop has to be air-conditioned because of the environment that you want. And he says that on top of it, when there's no customer, the back portion, the eye testing portion, I have a sliding door, I make it my cabin. So I also tell people I have a cabin in my office. Now, look at the way that person has thought as what is modernization. I met one more guy who actually said he has gone into that small lane of 10 or 12 or small stores, and he has helped all those small 10, 12, 15 stores to get onto online through Tally or various mechanisms so that they can adhere to the new policies of the government. The worry is GST aa gaya, I don't know how to do. I was only used to my accountant. How do I do? There are smart individuals who are now bringing technology to your house. The only thing that you require is to open up your mind. Now, the last mile, which is the B2C, we have a big basket or an Amazon pantry or a Flipkart who are reaching the customers directly. I spoke to you about how the smaller stores, whether it's kiranas or stationery items, are also reaching there. But now we are seeing actually these retailers doing fulfillment. Fulfillment to the extent that now they not only deliver goods into the door, but they're also taking the goods into the kitchen. Now, I think this is the biggest opportunity we have today. There are 2 or 3 industries which have huge opportunity to understand the customers and increase their business through these kiranas or through the small retailers because they are trusted. To me, food is one. Second is the electronic industry. If you are into electronic retail, one of the biggest opportunities that's happening is with the number of electronic items and appliances going up in the households, the service requirement has gone up. This is the only industry where a service technician is allowed to enter your personal spaces. You may not allow anybody to enter your house. You take your post from the small hole in the door. But if a technician of air conditioner comes, you take him into the bedroom. If you have a locker technician come, you go and open your so-called safe place and show him the safe to service it. But that is again a big opportunity to increase your business because now you are actually in the customer's house, in the customer's environment, understanding what is working, what is not working, and she is in a mood to talk because you've gone to serve her. I mean, just imagine if you're in the kitchen and you see an old mixie and ask, ma'am, this mixie needs to be repaired. No, I need to change this mixie. A bulb should switch on because here's an opportunity for you to sell the mixie. But again, if you look at small to big organizations, retailers to technology companies, the service and the sales don't talk to each other. Service will file a report, you'll get a call, sir, calling from service center, are you happy with the service? Was the technician fine? Fine. But it never says, sir, you wanted a mixie and here is Ramesh who's going to call you to sell a mixie to you. So there's a lot of B2C opportunities which are coming. And today also the service industry is in a very, very poor shape. If you are in business and you are serving a catchment of 1,000 retailers, 1,000 customers, 1,000 households, I am saying get into the service business. It's a huge profitable business. It has a huge opportunity. And you have to just serve the community, you get to know the community better. And once you have got access into the households, you can bring in lots of things. That is the time when an Amazon will come and say, can you become my sub-dealer or delivery for electronic and appliances? Because you're already doing that. So don't start with products to get into the house, start with service to go back into the product. And that's the possibility. So I can go on and on and on because there's tremendous opportunities which has emerged. But don't forget the B2B2C is probably the new opportunity. Whether it is brick and mortar or platform on a technology is an opportunity. You don't have to do anything. They're all there in the market. You have to just go and pick up. What could be the next opportunity for these small retailers who are on the streets? I'm addressing to the small retailers only because, the larger businesses already have their own way to get that. They have Accentures and the BCGs and the McKinseys of the world to come and talk to them. But it's always the small enterprises which say that they face this challenge. I'm seeing a new trend of a C2B2B. The customer is now themselves going to become a small business. This is actually happening in those cities where you have large number of apartments. And you have a lot of women who have worked and they're going into second innings. A lot of women who are becoming very, very enterprising. And this, I think, is again a big opportunity. Now, once this happens, and this could be slightly, maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, you are talking of a platform where exchanges are happening through and through. So, for example, if you look at the Gen Z, the modern generation, we believe in the fashion industry that between us and the millennials and the Gen Z, the consumption is going to get more and more regulated. Because the Gen Z is not adopting to fast fashion as probably the millennials have adopted. So the Gen Z does not want to buy as many garments. If there are some people in the garment industry sitting here, I am from the garment industry. I am telling you that the number of units that will be sold in the next 10, 15, 20 years is going to come down. Because the Gen Z is not willing to buy items and throw it because they believe this is going to actually hurt the environment. So what's going to happen? You will have a lot of reverse logistics happening between C to B to B. Now you may say, "Hamara dharam hai, hamara karam hai, we don't use old clothes." That's all gone. From luxury, from Burberry's to Gucci, and from the smallest brands, we're actually seeing shops coming up which are actually selling. One of the largest enterprises is a charitable chain called Oxfam Shop in UK, which actually has a tie-up with Marks and Spencer, and it runs into hundreds of millions of dollars. Some of them are used clothes, some of them are new clothes. So there's a huge change that is happening there. Now, we are saying, oh, with that, do we become a kabadi wala? No, you're not a kabadi wala. Call it as recycling, call it as upcycling. These are all very good words. If you Google this word, upcycling, recycling, sustainable, and now you have a circular economy, which in India, we always had the circular economy. I mean, somebody had to invent it outside to bring it back. So if you look at these are big opportunities sitting. And for this, you don't require huge investment. They're all sitting next to you. The question is, can you see this? Can you recognize this? And can you actually get into saying, let me make the best of it? So just to sum up and then open the house for question answer, please do not wait for regulations to change in your favor. Okay, whatever the regulations change, the market dynamics have opened up. Customer is shopping 24/7. You better become a 24/7 operator. Don't sleep when your customer is shopping. Ensure that your organization is awake when she is shopping or she is wanting to work. You saw what's happened in Mumbai. The new government has opened up Mumbai streets for 24/7 shopping. 2 trials have been made. In one mall on a weekend, one day the business really went up, the second day didn't go, but I thought it's very, very early days on that. Seeing that Delhi has announced a 24/7 shopping. So now we are not talking of online. The offlines are being pushed to work 24/7. That also increases employment. There'll be challenges, but we will all cover those challenges. So don't miss the opportunity. Adopt technology. Get into convergence. Get into collaboration. Even if you have to collaborate with your competitor, please collaborate because this is a big opportunity. And don't forget the customer, because whether it is B to B to C or C to B to B, the C always remains and they will always remain in the center. Thank you very much. Open for question and answers if you have. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm mic'd.
Hello, check. Nagesh, thank you very much. That was absolutely brilliant. Racy, it sounded like a film in which you're seeing in fast forward, bringing what we all thought was a complex subject. The way it was, MMA has the talent of framing these discussions, modern solution and emerging consumer, etc. He simplified it, brought it to your doorstep, and conveyed the future of a business solution to modern India in such a wonderful manner, in such a simple manner. It was really illuminating and very informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So just to start the Q&A I think I have a question already, so I'll ask that straight away. Is there an opportunity for the cooperative sector to adopt unconventional business models, including e-tailing? This is from Manikandan and Ashok.
Oh, actually, this is beautiful because out of the various C's I told, one C is already existing with you. You're already a cooperative, but as long as you're cooperating to do business and not cooperating to fight, I think it's a fine way to start off with. Yeah, because there are 2 kinds of cooperatives we see in the retail environment. You have a company like Spar, which is actually originally a cooperative, where the supply side worked together and made it happen. You also have Fab India, which actually started off by trying to bring weavers and everything together and created a great opportunity for the customers. So to me, the only thing I would suggest is for cooperatives is to see if you can focus on a certain set of customers and a certain set of products. Because many a times what happens in cooperative, you become such divergent assortment, then neither the customer nor the system is able to actually bring focus and make money out of the business. So that's the only suggestion I'll have, Venki, for that.
Thank you very much for that. The next question is on the sourcing side. Let's say reverse collaboration or backward collaboration has its own disadvantage of making the OEM player uncompetitive on product pricing. Please elaborate.
No, I don't know what the Orient player meant, but honestly, it is not. It is not because if you're talking of the example I gave of technology companies collaborating with the small retailers to actually make them omni-channel, all the examples that I have seen, and we studied this as part of the trust that I run, and I can give you evidence to that, the retailer has been at an advantage. The businesses have actually gained. Whether it was Pay Nearby, whether it is ShopX, or whether we have seen the traditional retailers working together. So I have not seen where the business gets marginalized and their contribution or cost comes down. Yes, if like the Nasik example I gave you, if out of the 8 guys, if one guy tries to do something hanky-panky, then those problems happen. But these are businesses which are built on trust in order to build a better business for everybody.
Yeah, I think that is clear. Companies like Poshmarks are established in the US. If upskilling or recycling, will it get adopted in India's conservative mentality? I think
this is only an outside view. Actually, if you ask me, Indians are the best recyclers. Even today in my house, I hope there's no media and my wife is not watching the webinar. Even today in my house, the towel finally ends up into a pocha. Okay, so we probably are one of the best recyclers and best upcyclers in the world. Even today, if you look at it, for example, I'm going to become a grandfather next 2 months. My mother-in-law, she has come and brought cloth which was used for my daughter who's 32 years old. And she's saying these are the right clothes to be used for the newborn. It's 32-year-old clothes. She has kept it. And my wife is very happy about it, saying we're going to use this. So it is not the question of conservativeness. I think it's just the way of how you present it. So for example, if suppose you are an upcycler or a recycler of clothes, okay, and if you go to a Nirma or a Hindustan Lever, and if you say this cloth has been upcycled and disinfected and shining with the help of Nirma or Surf, I mean, you have probably a collaboration and there's a branding opportunity of upcycling for a Unilever also. I mean, I'm saying these are the opportunities which you see when you actually want to do things. But somebody has to break the mold. Why not you or one of you here?
I think that's very clear. I think the next question is talking about whether the working time of shops will increase or decrease. I mean, I think he's alluding to your 24/7 keeping the store open and taking advantage of when the consumer is shopping.
See, as of today, we don't have evidence to say it will increase the business. Personally, if you ask me, I don't think it is viable at this stage. So my suggestion, yesterday I was in a conference where this was the subject of the discussion. My suggestion is to try out the model because as of today, opening late night in the malls that we have actually worked, it is the food court and the restaurants serving liquor which have really boomed. And especially on a Saturday, Sunday, and where it got extended. Otherwise, it was up to 11. I was told up to 3 o'clock they were eating and wining and dining. I thought this will be the millennials and the young generation. I was surprised when some of them told me that they were family sitting and wining and dining up to 3 o'clock. So it is just an experiment. I think people are wanting to open up. But in a mall, can the electronic shop and a garment shop and entertainment center, everything work? May not be, because the infrastructure of running a mall is very expensive. The second is, I don't think by just announcing a 24/7 policy is good enough. We have not created safety standards, security standards. If you have a street where shopping is opened up, but the street lights are not on, there are potholes and there is no security, you can't create an environment to shop. At the end of the day, the difference between a brick and mortar and online is the change of experience that you get delivered at the last mile. So good experiment to start with, long way to go. We don't even know whether it is going to be profitable because you will have to get a totally new shift. And you can't have a shift in retail working only night shifts. So which means that they'll have to flip over to a day shift, which means you'll have to give them break shifts. I mean, these are things which are expensive, but I think it's a good beginning. But a long way to go in my opinion.
Done. Thank you very much, Nagesh.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
you
much.
all for being here.
Thank you so much.
It's been a wonderful session.